well. We're presenting a paper on women entrepreneurship, the challenges and the emerging opportunities. Before we start the presentation proper, I would like to introduce myself. Then my co-speaker will also introduce herself. I will now say some brief. I will now put up some brief information before my co-speaker will now deliberate on the equity proper. Once again, Peter Udeh is my name from Nigeria. I have my degree in economics. For the people who are here for the first time, not for my co-participants for over 50 days. I also run an organization. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own organization. We're into ICT hardware marketing. I'm the CEO. I'm also a writer, and one of my publications is also on the area of women empowerment. I believe most of my friends here have some copies of my publication. Also, I'm the president of an NGO, which is also an NGO that is responsible for women advocacy. So when we were given this presentation to do, I feel like that it's an honor, in as much as the time frame given to us was very short. If you check our trip to Jaipur, Agra, Ahmedabad, and coming back, preparing our presentation. But here we are today doing the presentation. So this is just a brief information about me. I would like to welcome NISSI to also give a profile. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm NISSI Ibiang. I work for an agency called Cross River State Microfinance and Enterprise Development Agency. I've worked there as the entrepreneurship development officer for the past 3 years. Prior to that, I worked at a USAID-funded NGO called OICI, and we were involved in entrepreneurship development in our state. Now, Cross River State is in the southern part of Nigeria. It's an oil-producing part of Nigeria, but recently, because of us having to return some part of Bakassi to Cameroon, it lost all its oil revenue from government and the nation as well. And so the challenge we were faced with was transforming Cross River State from a civil service society, a government office society, to an entrepreneurship-based society. And it was on that basis I was employed. And so far so good. We can see the transformation in Cross River State. People are more open to running their own businesses, and women are also being challenged to run their businesses as well. On a personal note, I own a crèche, I own a school. It started last year, and gradually we've grown to about 40 children. Okay, and that's about me, really. Thank you. So we'll go ahead to our presentation right now.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome. It's always a big honor to be here in the presence of you all, especially Professor Akuri, that always make our time to be here for us to extract from his pool of knowledge. I also appreciate Professor Medula from Mauritius, also Professor Lalit from ITS, is a resource person, and also some seated dignitaries from 33 different countries. I want to say something about women entrepreneurship. To be a successful entrepreneur as a woman, you must have courage. Because today we are going to be discussing about the Nigerian perspective. And what is courage? Courage is ability to take on what seems fearful. That's my definition of courage. And what is courage? You must have the ability to succeed and win, and also the ability to lose. To be a successful women entrepreneur, you must have the ability to lose. If you don't have that courage, you cannot be a successful entrepreneur as a woman. I'm coming from a background where we have some entrepreneurs, even in my family. Sometimes we're also looking at the winning side. One day I asked someone, after 3 years of graduation from the university, I asked her, Elena, if you're giving between $3,000 to $5,000, what are you going to do with it? You know what she says? She says she don't know. And she's been a graduate for 3 years. And this is an offer. If you're given a $5,000, what are you going to do with it? She said, I don't know. Just because she has not been thinking in the area of entrepreneurship. Maybe she's waiting for government to make provision for her. And what if the provision does not come? And in Nigeria, we are coming from the perspective where, from the background where women are the majority of the population. So women entrepreneur is highly needed in the whole world and even in our different countries for better improvement in our gross domestic product. Another point I want to make here is when we talk about women entrepreneurship, we also have to mix it up with women empowerment. And first, you must be empowered in your mind. You must have a sound mind. If you don't have a sound mind, you cannot venture into any enterprise. That's number one thing. You must have a sound mind. And as a woman, to be successful, you must have a winning attitude. Because it's a male domineering world. It's assumed that we, the men, we dominate the whole thing. So, to be a successful entrepreneur, there are emerging opportunities here and there, but you must have a positive attitude to be a successful entrepreneur as a woman, anywhere you find yourself. Also, you must have this driving force, and you must be able to break the normal norms. You know, the society, the culture, the tradition, in all our different locations, put women to the background. And you must be able to break even from the religious infringement. You must be able to break even from the societal infringement. You must be able to ask questions, why? If this person can do it, I can also do it. You must carry this mindset as a woman. If a man can do it, I can as well do it. Why not me? But we are living in a place where some people, they don't have the courage to ask questions. Personally, I don't conform with normal ethics. I find it difficult to conform with normal ethics. If you say we should go out from this door, why can't we try this one? That is how an entrepreneur thinks. And in the PPT presentation, my partner will also be discussing the challenges, because we always see finance as the challenges. But finance is what? The secondary aspect of entrepreneurship. If you don't have the courage, which is number one, if finance is given to you, you cannot manage it. Am I communicating? Am I communicating? If you don't have the courage, which is the key thing, if the finance is given to you, you cannot manage it. It's as simple as that. So we must cultivate those attitudes. And to conclude in this my brief, I want to say, wherever you find yourself, whatever you can think, you can do. If you can think about it, you can do it. So I'm now inviting my fellow speaker, NISSI, to deliberate more on the PPT. Thank you very much.
Okay, I want to welcome all of us once again. And that's a picture of all of us, some of us rather. Yes, women. We're proud to be women, actually. Women entrepreneurs in Nigeria have become increasingly important as they make influential impact in global economics and business today. Nigeria currently has 80.2 million women and girls. This forms a huge human capital potential for economic development and growth. 54 million of these women live and work in rural areas, and girls, as a result of poverty, have a higher rate of dropping out of schools, and this is from the British Council in 2012. Now, currently, Nigerian women are making a lot of advancements in every area. In fact, 3 of the male-dominated professions are currently headed by women, namely the Nigerian Bar Association, the Nigerian Medical Association, and the Institute of Chartered Accountants. Also in Nigeria, key ministerial positions are now occupied by women. And the federal government, after a lot of pressure, gave way to 35% of government appointments being held by women. And it amazed us actually when they decided to make the Minister of Finance a woman. They made the Minister of Petroleum a woman, and it was really amazing. And then the woman went on to become the head of OPEC currently, and she says when she goes into the meetings, the men are like, whoa, what are you doing here? But she's proud to be a woman. She knows she has earned every step of the journey, and she's doing really well. So for me, I say that this is the decade of the woman in Nigeria. The men understand that for us to make progress as a nation, when you need people to take responsibilities, you need to look to the woman. Women are dedicated, they are hardworking, and they are resourceful. They are willing to give the best shot at every given opportunity. Please give a round of applause for the woman in Nigeria. There's been a few challenges which we continue to face, and one of them is the cultural boundaries. Nigeria is divided into 6 geopolitical zones, but there's the northern part of the nation, there's the southern part, and there's the western part. There's the eastern part, and there's the western part. Now, the south falls under the eastern part also. Now, the north is traditionally like a traditional society. The western part has is more modernized and urban now, and then the Easterners are really entrepreneurs. They are the entrepreneurs of Nigeria, the Igbo people, where Peter is from. Most times they believe in education, but entrepreneurship comes first to them. So you have like a father when he's owning a business, he takes his child along. You must come along, and you must learn what your father does as an Igbo guy or as an Igbo child, woman or man. And then the thing is, as the father grows older, he hands over the business to the son. Sometimes also, parents who see your business and like the way you're doing it can bring themselves or their children to you, say, okay, please train this child. And then when they train the child for like 2 years or 3 years on the business, the entrepreneur gives the child or the person some amount of money to start his own business. So you could run your business while you're still in school. That's the Igbo mindset. But the northern part of the country is a bit reserved. Women are more like they are heard and not seen. So they are supposed to be indoors. They don't do anything. Now that society is changing. And then the western part of the country, from the 60s, they began to give opportunities to their women. So women are trained, they are exposed, and I'm from the western part of the country as well. I come from a family of 2 girls, 2 daughters, and my father gave us the same opportunities. We did well in school. He handed over his businesses and everything he owned to us. Whereas if it were before, they would say as a woman you can't own or you can't benefit from a will. So things are actually changing. And currently, Nigeria is popularly adjudged as one of the fastest growing economies in the world, with business opportunities arising daily. It is still considered, though, as a traditional society where it is still believed in some quarters, especially in the northern parts, like I said earlier, that women shouldn't play a majority role in business affairs. Nigeria is also a patriarchal society. Everything revolves around men, and this is a part of the cultural belief and tradition that holds women down. Entrepreneurial activities in some parts of the country are seen as the exclusive right of men, while women are to be housewives, staying-at-home moms, to raise children and handle home affairs. Women are supposed to be humble and submissive in my country. Even when they rise to managerial heights, there are reported cases of harassment by males as they find it difficult to submit to female bosses. We have such challenges. Now, another major challenge we face is finance, access to finance, really. Women entrepreneurs face the difficulty of finance to start up businesses, as they usually do not own the securities and assets required to obtain loans to start businesses. According to the report of Frawa for a strategy to support women entrepreneurs in Nigeria, women typically do not possess the kind of tangible assets banks require to lend money. Even though women approximately own 25 to 30% of registered businesses, only 10 to 15% have access to bank credit. The banks in Nigeria raise barriers for women, even though it's not on paper, but when you go, it's a gender judgment kind of thing. So right now, most women look to microfinance the government has provided funds for microfinance institutions to be able to give funds, a particular percentage, about 20% of their funds must go to women, must actually. So they make it important that every woman who goes to a microfinance institution must be able to get some level of funds or some amount of funds. Even then, it is still difficult because a lot of women find it difficult to put forward a business plan, a proper business plan. And so in my organization, we provide entrepreneurship training and business plan training as well. And in some cases, we just do a template so that those who are not totally literate can just fill, and we can help calculate, and we can submit to the banks. We make it easy for them so that they can understand and they can go to the banks and get funds. Now, lack of educational backgrounds is also another barrier for women entrepreneurs because men tend to receive more education and training than women. They have more knowledge in operating businesses and entrepreneurial activities in Nigeria. And also, women are usually less aware of the opportunities. A lot of opportunities could come up and women are not even aware. Perhaps maybe even though they're at home, they're so busy with chores that they can't even see what's going on or hear what's going on at all. But the tide is, however, changing as women are realizing that with or without formal education, they can still be great entrepreneurs. Now, I would like to go a little bit. The Central Bank of Nigeria has provided 6 entrepreneurship development institutions. They fund them annually with about 300 million naira for them, and they serve about 6 states each. And what they do is everyone, men and women who live around the place who wants to learn about entrepreneurship, they can go there and they can learn for a subsidized amount, really little. It's about $10 to register there, and then you can partake in the training, and then after that they direct you to a microfinance institution where you can get funds from. In my state we have one. I do part-time trainings there as well. Now, this has opened people's eyes to the fact that you can do business, you can do entrepreneurship and succeed at it because you have people you can look forward to. So currently, opportunities are available for women entrepreneurs. There are various opportunities, and it is in every industry. The current women we have, the kinds of women we have in Nigeria who are young and upcoming are ones who believe that nothing should hold them down. So they go an extra mile. I've seen some amazing businesses, from online businesses where they cook for you. You have online services now where you can you tell them to cook you a meal or a pot of soup, for instance. You don't have the time, and you pay them and they deliver the soup to your doorstep. So there are all manner of businesses. There's the flying doctors, a lady who started an air ambulance service, and then the federal government went ahead to launch a program called the U-Win program. It's a youth enterprise with innovation program where they provide about 10 million naira. 10 million naira is about $6,000 per business plan that wins the competition. And every year they take a total of 1,200 people. The first year they took more men and a few women. I won in the first year. But in the second year, they took only women. So they took 1,200 women. And so far, we have about 2,000 women who are benefiting from this program. It's a grant. You don't get to pay back. But they monitor us for a period of 3 years to make sure that our businesses are doing very well. And for those 2,000 women, they are amazed to see that we've employed 10,000 more women. And then I'm going to give you a few role models we look up to. And one of them is Dr. Olaorekunrin. She was trained abroad. She's a medical doctor. But she lost her sister in Nigeria because there was no air ambulance to lift the sister when she had a sickle cell crisis. And so the sister died. And when she saw that, she said, instead of I living in London and earning a good salary, I'm going to come back to Nigeria. And she spoke to a lot of senior people in the aviation industry. They all said it's impossible. But she went ahead now and she has up to 10 fleets of helicopters that she uses to airlift passengers in cases of emergency. And she has operated for 3 years in Nigeria. She's only 28. And, she's moving places. She's airlifted up to 500 people so far. And that's her in the middle. She's one of the global economic youth leaders right now, named by Forbes. And then another person is Adenike. Adenike started her industry in 1996. She used to sell pajamas from the boots of her car. and she had to drop out of school because there were no funds to send her to school. But she started making clothes for children in Nigeria. Usually, what Nigerians do is we believe in everything foreign, which we are trying to change. And she started by making clothes for children in Nigeria that are made from fabrics in Nigeria, and it is made in Nigeria. And with time, she has grown to having up to 11 outlets all over Nigeria, just from in 5 years, actually. And then that's her, and she's also doing really well. Now, another person is one we call the Queen of Blogs. She is Linda Ikeji. She's popular in Nigeria. She started a blogging site in 2007 just from her passion. Okay, she's a model. She wanted to share her everyday activities with people. But people began to like and enjoy her style of, and so now she has, every day, people that visit her sites, there are almost 1 million every day visiting her sites, and she earns a lot of it from it, actually. She's one of the top bloggers in the world, and, she's doing really well. Now, the thing is, what I've learned from all of this is, initially when I started out my career, I was in self-doubt. I see people do things that I think I can do, but I'm like, okay, this is not for me. But I've pushed myself now to the point where once I see someone doing it, or even without seeing someone doing it, I can motivate myself to do it and watch other people learn how to do it as well. So women entrepreneurship should be encouraged at all levels, in my opinion, and in our opinion. And for us to be successful, we need to be passionate and persistent. I believe that nobody can limit you unless you limit yourself. You must have a winning attitude. Attitude, they say, is equal to talents. And we must believe as women that no one can put us down. We are put down only by ourselves, actually. And then you must identify and work with a role model, someone who pushes you. I have a role model who pushes me every day. She asks me, what's your plan like? What have you done? Have you thought about this? And she inspires me to do my best every time. But she also tells me she learns a lot from me, because when she pushes me, she knows she can push herself a little bit more. Now, there are various areas that are offering entrepreneurship opportunities for women in the society. This includes beauty parlors, fashion and design, education, farming, food chain and eateries, trading. If you can think it, a popular person says, you can do it. Once you can think it, so you should try to think as women, what can you do to make your society a bit better? What can you contribute? What can you leave behind also? Now, it is also important for women to avail themselves of the opportunities available on the computer and on the internet to be able to compete in the world we are in today, which is being driven by information technology. And you must look for opportunities in every crisis, as every crisis is an opportunity for change, according to the Chinese. Thank you very much. I'll take your questions if you have any.
Yeah. Give the mic.
You mentioned that Nigeria is fastest growing.
One of the fastest, yeah.
Fastest growing,
Developing India.
And,
Switch it on.
Okay.
So, women entrepreneurship is very important in the country. But I would hear only about the loan which you can give which you can get from the bank. In the European Union, it's always a key issue to support the small businesses and medium enterprises. And is it possible for businesswomen to submit their action plan and application for the ECOWAS? Unfortunately, I have no clear information how the ECOWAS operates, but is it possible to get financial assistance to start a business? Because in Hungary, it's almost impossible to establish a business without capital. So I would like to find out whether it is the only one opportunity to get the loan, or is there any other opportunity to get financial assistance to establish a business?
To answer your question, you want to know if there is if women can access loan, maybe from the ECOWAS or other group. As we present here, one of
This is not a loan. So
Can you get funds that are not loans? Is that what you mean?
necessary to pay back.
Okay.
from the banks, if Yeah, I'm not sure from the, ECOWAS is Economic Community of West African States. That's a sub-region. So I don't know the details on how they give loans or how they give grants without repayment. But in our presentation, one of the main challenges the women have is being able to get a grant or loan from the banks. Because number one, our interest rate is a bit high, and if you must get a grant or a loan, you must have a collateral. And your inability to present a collateral is a big challenge in getting the loan. It's possible to get a grant from an agency, but I'm not sure. I can't give you the real situation from the ECOWAS, because ECOWAS is not just for Nigeria. ECOWAS covers other West African countries as well. Thank you.
Can I just throw a light on this issue of ECOWAS?
Yeah.
I hope that I'm not interfering with your presentation. ECOWAS is a sub-regional body, and we have this policy of non-interference into domestic affairs of nation states. Now, what ECOWAS does in terms of assistance comes directly through the government, not directly with individual citizens. So perhaps if the government decides to direct the funds in that way, it's going to appear that way, but it's going to be under the Nigerian government or whatsoever government. I have a question also.
Okay, let me also say that in answering your question, what the federal government did recently, in the last 2 years, or 3 years I should say, is that they provided a particular pool of funds that you can benefit from. But they tried to make it for youths, actually, those who are less than 45, for women who are less than 45, and it's a grant, and you can access it, and you can get up to 10 million. But what they do is, you have to submit a business plan that they find competitive enough. And then every year they pick 1,200 people to benefit from. Last year they picked 1,200 women. So it was a 100% women thing. The year before last they picked 40% women and then 60% men. So totally, the women have actually benefited more. And this year they are also going to pick from women and men as well, so that they can try to balance it out a little. Now, also the microfinance institutions, those ones, they provide basically loans, but they make it cheap. The interest rate is a bit cheaper than going to the bank. And then their government, every state government now has a microfinance agency. And so, like in my state, the government puts away 1% of our allocation, 1% of every amount of money they receive goes into the microfinance funds, where women and men can benefit from. But when we go to the villages, we try to promote women. And usually when they see I come forward or my boss comes forward, who's also a woman, they are encouraged to try. So it's looking up, actually. Thank you very much.
His answer to your question. It was non-banking finance. Yes.
I appreciate the fact that you prepare your presentation in a very short space of time. And I think it's very coordinated. Knowing that Nigeria has a population, of female population of over 80 million, which is about 25 times my entire population, I know that it actually takes resilience, because in such an environment there is competition, and it's more difficult to strive as compared to a smaller environment. Now, I want to know, basically, those of us outside Nigeria, we believe, I may be wrong, that there's a gap between the North and the South in terms of development. Now, I want to know whether your government has different policies with reference to human development, which affects entrepreneurship, whether they have different policies for the North because they tend to be more underprivileged as compared to the South.
Well, what they do is, if I could answer before he goes, what they do is, yes, there's some kind of encouragement for the northern part of the country. They try to make education free and try to implement it. But Nigeria is run, we have a federal government and we have a state government. And so the federal government pushes the state government to ensure that they have free education for the people in the north. Now the problem is that the people in the north, no matter what they say, okay, free education, free registration for exams, it takes a lot of driving for the north to actually educate itself. But the amazing thing is the richest people from Nigeria are from the north. So for me, I think there's some kind of deliberate attempt not to sound really. There's a deliberate attempt to leave some people uneducated because the most wealthy people are from the north, yet it is still impoverished.
So to add to the point, the policy by the Nigerian government is the same for the north, the south, the east, and the west. But as she says, it's a little bit relaxed for the people in the north. Maybe because of their socio-cultural background and religious background. So at times it will take you more time to achieve results in terms of educating the people in the north in the area of entrepreneurship. It will take you more drive than it will take in the south, east, or the west. But it's the same policy all over the country. And
but there is variations between the federal government and the state government. Okay. Any other questions? We are running short of time. So can I now say any pressing question? The last question. Because there is another presentation. Otherwise, you are missing the lunch.
any question?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Very encouraging presentations, and I like the experiences of how the